Gemma Dale from nabtrade is standing by to give us all the juicy details. Gemma, welcome back to the program. Fantastic to go and see you there. What have people been up to? Because there's been some extreme volatility at the stock level.
Yeah, it's just been incredible. We've suddenly seen volumes just explode again. It's been such a quiet year, all things considered. We've had so many investors go to cash really early in the year, preparing for the kind of volatility they don't like. They like the big falls and they haven't seen those. Most people were feeling like things were a little bit toppy at the beginning of the year. Cash has been climbing and climbing and climbing. It's sitting at absolutely extraordinary record levels, and mostly investors just haven't found much opportunity to chase anything. So there's been a real concentration in what people are willing to buy and trade. That sort of shrunk quite dramatically relative to 2 years ago. And the volumes have fallen dramatically in line with the rest of the ASX, right? There's just been this real fall. No one's super excited about anything. And then this week it's just blown massively again. So it's back to sort of COVID levels, not peak COVID levels, not, March 2020 levels, but maybe August 2020 levels, where people are still seeing things they're excited about and they're making some moves.
Looking back to about that period of time was when I started at ausbiz, and Zip was on its way to a high altitude along with a lot of those other buy now, pay later names. This week, we're seeing a big move again, a big pop higher in Zip shares. Everything old is new again in that space.
I find this hilarious. Like, a big pop higher now is 80 cents. When a big pop higher was $9 a little while ago. So there's the big pop higher and the big pop higher depending on your time frame. Zip was really interesting to me in that our guys tend to be relatively comfortable, not so much buying the dip in the YOLO, throw your money at anything kind of sense, but they're very happy to buy the dip in something they consider to be high quality. So CSL, Macquarie, any of the banks, BHP, Fortescue, if there's a dip in those sorts of companies, we absolutely see buying. That is a very consistent trend. It's quite unusual for our guys to give up on something, to just straight up get out and capitulate. And Zip's been one of the few where they go, that was fun while it lasted, but if I've been holding right through that decline that's on the chart there, it is time for me to take what little is left of my money and run. So we've seen fairly consistent small size selling in Zip over the last few months as people just kind of gave up on it. And then suddenly they're trading it again. It's back in the numbers this week, which is amazing to me. So anyone who's holding that last tiny little bit of it has obviously been having a bit of fun.
Yeah, that long-term chart reminds me of cracking back into Friday flat down at Threadbow. So I've been one-way traffic, albeit little pops there halfway down the slope. Gemma, let's go and talk about lithium space, because that's where there has been some pretty pronounced selling over the course of the week. What have we seen nabtrade and customers do? Because we know that it was a really, really hot area of the market for a long period of time.
That has been actually where our guys have gone. When everything else got super boring and there wasn't anything terribly exciting to trade, lithium just popped up and gave everyone the little opportunity they were excited about. And it works really well. I think we've had this conversation before. It works well for those who are looking for a long-term strategic story. They can buy something, stick it in the back pocket. Hopefully they did that 12 months ago rather than now. Stick it in the back pocket and go, gentlemen, this is a sort of a 10, 20 year transition. Or alternatively, you can go, this is just a great fun trading opportunity because there's so much movement in this sector. There's a ton of volatility, there's a ton of liquidity. I can just enjoy it. All of our guys have that little part of their portfolio they want to have some fun with, and lithium's just been that, right? We will see 3 or 4 lithium stocks in the top 10 most days. Pilbara Minerals, oh my God, so I'm looking at my numbers this week and just the sheer volume of money going through that stock is just extraordinary. It's kind of Fortescue levels, but much higher than Fortescue levels in terms of total volume. Just absolutely huge, and 90+% buying. So the excitement on just a pullback, really, it's not a massive collapse by any means, on a pullback in that stock is just extraordinary. People were just flooding into it, huge amounts of money. So much excitement, quite a wide range of investors and traders and relatively large trade sizes as well. That was just very exciting for everybody this week.
Yeah, the world's largest lithium producer, SQM, out overnight, talking up a big game when it comes to the price outlook at the moment. It's been interesting to see this week that we've just seen continued selling in the lithium names, but maybe setting itself up for a base and another leg higher. We'll see, of course, as time progresses. The question then has to be asked, where is the money coming from to go and fund this trading activity in the lithium space?
Such a good question, actually. Look, honestly, there's so much cash sitting on the sidelines. Our guys can buy anything they want for quite some time and still not really bring it back to, say, the cash levels of 12 months ago. The cash has been building up for such a long time. The buying power is there if people are wanting to buy. There hasn't been a huge amount of selling in the kind of more speculative end of people's portfolios, and that mostly people are really just happy actively trading that and leaving the rest of their portfolios alone. CBA at $106 though, that is a hard sell. They were very, very happy to get out of that. So we saw a ton of cash coming out of CBA. I can't imagine it was rotating back into lithium. That doesn't seem like an obvious trade, but there were a lot of people who were like, you know what, I've seen this number before. It doesn't tend to stay up here for for particularly long periods. It could pull back. I'll take some money off the table. And interestingly enough, NAB, $30 was always the magic number for NAB. Once NAB got above $30, we would just see wholesale selling or trimming, let's be honest. Like, people don't sell down their entire portfolio, but they'll take some off the table. It was getting up above sort of $31, $32 for a little while there. People were like, oh, okay, there might be a new base for it, a little bit higher. No, $30 again, massive selling again, people trimming at that level. So a bit of money coming out of the banks, but certainly not enough to fund the sheer volume that is going into lithium. And then if we go back to Fortescue, which I get bored talking about because it's every single week, but the numbers in Fortescue this week have just been absolutely eye-watering. So double what we saw in Pilbara Minerals. I saw the Pilbara Minerals number and I was like, I've never seen anything like that. Oh no, there's Fortescue at double that. Absolutely selling like mad, right? You can see that bounce on the chart. People very, very happy to trim. It was $19.40 was the exact average trade size, exact average price that people were getting out, and they were very happy to do that at that number.
Okay, that's really interesting as well. A few question marks about what we're seeing from China when it comes to that property rescue. Looks more like that rather than a stimulus package at this point, but a few people got very excited about it on the day. Can I ask you about Elders? Because that at a single stock level has been an absolute darling over the past couple of years. We know that drought conditions have paved way to a land of milk and honey, but it came out with a trading update this week, the results there for the full year, and really just got hosed. What was going on there, and how did your clients go and respond?
Yeah, it's such an interesting one. I mean, it's not the kind of stock we see consistently in our numbers. There's always a small handful of holders who've really enjoyed that run and who've seen it as a nice holding. It's relatively good for diversification for our guys because they're so overweight materials and banks. Anything else is going to be interesting from a diversification perspective. Big pullback, gets hurt. Suddenly all of these buyers pop up, right? People are very excited to add that to the portfolio. So we saw a ton of buying. Rocketed straight up the numbers. People very excited about it. It's dropped back, and unless there's another pullback in the price, we won't see any interest for ages.
There we go. Well, it's certainly had a bit of pronounced fall this week, so give me an opportunity if you want to buy the dip. Just quickly to go around off, Gemma, internationally, what are we seeing on that front?
Yeah, international is really interesting now. Probably the most telling part is that it's really thinned out and we just don't see the active trading that we were seeing 6 months ago. Even people are just not so keen to get into international anymore. I think the currency movements are kind of throwing people, and they're finding it quite difficult to see a flaw in some of the things that they liked before. And so there's just this sort of real reluctance. But Target was really interesting. I mean, they've made it really clear that the Christmas season is not going to be super exciting. And that they've said that they're stealing. Shoplifting was the word I was looking for. Shoplifting has doubled, which is just an extraordinary statistic about how the economy is faring in the US and the amount of pressure on the consumer. And yet we saw a ton of buying in that. Clearly, our guys thought there was a bit of a buying opportunity there when it pulled back.
Yeah, theft was being measured in the tens of millions of dollars, which is just telling about what some people are going through in the United States at the moment. So, Gemma, we'll have to go leave it there. Fantastic to go chat as always. Enjoy your weekend.
Pleasure to speak with you. You too.